Caution, what you are about to see is considered off-meta, and is intended for entertainment purpose only. Do not attempt without parental supervision. Frosty Hobo 47 is not liable for any bullying that may occur when your team realizes you aren't running a meta loadout.
So for today's off-meta GM run, I'm going to be showing you a build that consists of Lumina, Starfire Protocol, Energy Converter, Wrath of Rasputin, 2 Supercharged, Taking Charge. I use a Powering Rift, a Fusion Grenade, which I get 2 because of Starfire, and Well of Radiance for Benevolent Dawn, and well, the super is really good. So to begin, the reason you want to be running Lumina here is because it's a hand cannon, so it's pretty good in GMs. It's easy to kill red bars. It has a damage buff, it has a heal, and that heal and damage buff can proc your Benevolent Dawn with your subclass tree. So on your armor, the Taking Charge and Charge with Light and Energy Converter, this is just a really nice passive sort of in the background benefit where once you get 5 stacks, pop your super, throw your grenade, you're back up to 50%. So that's not the primary aspect of this build. And similarly with Wrath of Rasputin, I just threw that on because I had an open slot. I figured fusion grenades, you know, I'll get a couple here and there. And I'm using Ikelos SMG, Sniper, and 7 Seraph Saw, so if I get kills with those, another chance of proccing Warmind cells. So nothing beyond that for Warmind cells. The primary playstyle you're going to be using with this sort of build is just focusing on feeding back into your own Benevolent Dawn and proccing your passives and recharging your abilities. So first off, you get 2 fusion grenades, so you want to be using fusion grenades. And the fact that you have healing grenades as an option means that you always have either 1 for damage, or 2 for healing, or 2 for damage, or whatever combination. And it's real easy to throw a fusion grenade onto like a really low red bar, get a kill, and it gives you back some rift energy. It's really good for that. And then while you have empowered rifts, standing in the rifts and getting damage on enemies from weapons gives you grenade energy back. So it's sort of this self-feeding cycle. It feels really good to use it. Then you stack on Energy Converter. As I said, it's just another passive background sort of bonus, and you're pretty good to go with it. It's very fluid that you can play here. Lumina is really good here because in those situations where your teammates are maybe running for a champion or running away from a champion, you know, you can shoot the noble round. You have to lead it a bit because there is travel time with the bullet, but once it gets close, it'll home in on them, give them a heal, give you and them a damage buff. And we can use unstoppable hand cannons this season, so Lumina is a no-brainer as far as proccing your passive and healing and dealing damage. As far as off-meta goes, I wouldn't really say that this is that off-meta. Technically it is because it's not Phoenix Protocol or Lunafaction, Well of Radiance, and I'm using Lumina, so that's the real big thing that sort of moves it off the meta scale. But the main reason I say that is because you're not really changing the gameplay up that much. It's just sort of like passive benefits. There's quite a few exotics in the game like this, where you just kind of get some slight little benefit, which is pretty disappointing. Now, this was pretty cool, like using Lumina. I thought it was really fun to use Lumina. It's one of my favorite and most well-designed guns in the game. And I think Bungie has actually done Lumina really well. Most games that try to do like a supportive gun, they usually don't hit the mark as far as like it does too much damage, so there's no support utility coming from it. Or, like, it doesn't offer a buff to your team that's good enough to actually use it. So, like, Lumina's design is really, really good. And the Catalyst makes it even better. Getting 2 Noble rounds, that makes it really good, because that actually doubles the reload you get from picking them up. The remainder of this video is going to be me finishing the Grandmaster with some commentary on top to give you some insights to what I was thinking and maybe some other miscellaneous things. I don't know, it's going to be unscripted. If you like this kind of content, subscribing would help me out a lot, and hitting the bell notification to be notified of any future content. A like and a share would be very appreciated as well. So right here, we decided to get those worms into their little deposit points as fast as possible, because I remember the first season that this was available as a Grandmaster, those worms will actually despawn, and if they despawn, at least back then, the champions that dropped them would not respawn in the Grandmaster version. So we knew we had to get those in pretty quick. Right here, I'm just poking down some enemies because I'm trying to proc my empowered weapon to get some grenade energy back. Throughout, you've seen me pop Warmind cells when I get them. As I was saying, I have a Warmind mod generator on there, but it's not really the primary aspect of this build. Right there, I get hung up on the geometry, and the worm explosion killed me, so yeah, that was not very fun. You gotta be careful, because every time you drop a worm in, it'll spawn an enemy. On the last one, it spawns, not dunking it on the last one, but getting the last one spawns a champion in the middle. And apparently you don't need to kill it to get a platinum, so maybe you just have to damage it. Maybe one of my teammates damaged it earlier on, but you'll see we don't really, or as far as I'm aware, I don't hit it. I drop empowering because you can see how fast I get those fusion grenades. It's kind of crazy. After playing with this, it really changed my opinion on some of these exotics. Drop a well here because why not? You know, like, pretty easy. A lot of ads in this room. We try to take care of the ads and the shielded knights first because, you know, when there's one target, it's so much easier to deal with. The fusion grenades do a surprisingly good amount of damage. See, there's a champion right down there if you saw it for a split second. But dunking that third worm spawns the boss to come in. So that kills that champion effectively. It doesn't say anything, so we were kind of worried at the time that we weren't going to get a platinum. But we didn't know, so we continued going. And it's not like you have to get platinum. We just figured, why, you know, might as well. Get some free loot. Yeah, just an unstoppable ogre. Pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Some thralls. Just make sure you kite the unstoppable enemies. Wait for their little wings to be off cooldown. Turn around and make sure that heal gets on them. There's very little in the game that actually, like, helps you in knowing to heal someone. I know that's a very, like, minor thing because you can't, it's not a very, like, common ability to be able to heal your teammates outside of being a warlock. But it'd be kind of cool if we had, like, little health meters on the side. Now I go to this spot because I don't know, I was trying to get an angle on one of them. Then he decides to put the well down, so I figure, you know, might as well use it, might be able to survive. I was really worried about the champion onto our top right, because he keeps nailing us. And you'll see in a second, I get a little rambunctious, I guess, with the damage. I don't have anti-barrier because I have unstoppable, and I refuse to do double primary for stuff like this. I think that detracts from the game so much. We already had year one, we knew what that was like, it was not good. Double primary is a, it's a curse on this game, I would say. See right here, I should have been throwing grenades since I just dropped Empower, because I can get the grenades refreshed really quick. Right here, I'm a little over cocky with my positioning. I don't think that the Unstoppables can target me, and then obviously one of them kills me. Thankfully, my teammate had banner shield, so he could push up and come get me, because I'm the only one with Unstoppable, so that would have been difficult if I wasn't up right there. And that was definitely my bad, obviously. But you just kind of keep kiting them, stay behind, keep poking them with grenades and stuff. That's something that this chess piece really lets you do, is you can just kind of poke people with grenades. It does pair really well with Wrath of Rasputin, because fusion grenades can proc that, spawning Warmind cells. I try to fast forward up the scenes where we're not really doing anything. I know it's all fast forwarded, but that's a 400 previously. The normal gameplay is at 200. I think it's kind of comical that Bungie's original designs of Grandmasters that they told us was they wanted it to be watchable. And, like, conceptually, I kind of get this. Like, it's harder than normal. Like, it's the hardest thing in the game. I get that. But, I don't know. Most of the strikes aren't really designed in a way to have mechanics. So that's something I actually want to talk about on this one, is, like, these bosses actually have pretty cool mechanics. Like, they show you where they're going to attack, when they're going to attack, where they're going to attack. They give you ample time to avoid it, and there's actually gameplay mechanics in the sandbox to avoid their attacks. It's actually a pretty good mechanic. I wish it was featured more prominently throughout the strike. Like the boss, if she was like in more parts of the strike, I think that'd be pretty cool. So something that you had to like play around with more often. Or maybe like a knight that like, maybe they could do like a solar and a void knight just as a normal enemy and sprinkle them throughout the strike where they like kind of do the boss effect. So they're kind of like a minor version of it. Like they only target one person at a time or something. But you do get to really experience these mechanics in the Grandmaster to their fullest extent. And it's really cool because it completely changes how you would think of like these strikes. Normally you're just running through, you take no damage, you melt things. You know, it's just a hop skip away from some loot from the beginning. We know we got to deal with that barrier before we destroy the void one. I run away from my well, I abandon it because I don't want to get meleeed. I figure I'd better be alive than, you know, sit in my well. And plus I have half my super energy back from throwing my grenade from energy converter. So that's really nice. You'll notice that I always try to get my noble rounds after I kill something. So like, if you see an ad by itself like I did there, you want to collect your noble round. We know right here we want to melt the void one because she's really the one that destroys cover in this environment. So they, like I was saying about the mechanics, their really cool design is that one pushes you into cover, and then the other one pushes you out of cover. So like, I don't know how intentional Bungie was with the design of that, but they ended up doing that anyway, so it's pretty cool. Now, I remember from the previous season that there's a bunch of ads and an unstoppable ogre. That used to give me trouble back when this was first a GM. We didn't know about champions in the boss room. So, we just make sure we get him stunned across the room so they can get anarchies and do some damage. You don't want to risk any thrall getting up close, so it's okay to like use some ammo here and there if you think you saw something. So Unstop's dead. Now we go for the big boss DPS. A note for the Ursa Titan. So if you're using Ursas and you're using a Sentinel, if you're standing in a well or a healing rift, then you don't want to be blocking. You want to stand slightly out of it to where you're not taking damage or you won't get energy refunded. So there you see, Grandmaster Platinum completion. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this content, again, a like, subscribe, shares, all that stuff is really appreciated. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.